One of the most important skills you can have performing stunts is your ability to fall. Pretty much every stunt will involve some kind of falling. A stair fall, falling off a horse, getting hit by a car and falling, falling off a bicycle, getting kicked and punched and then falling. So the first thing that we tend to learn in stunts is how to fall. There's so many different types of falls, but your basic break falls, your forward break fall, your back break fall, your side break fall, that's your fundamentals. That's what we build upon on. So remember, you are the fall guy. Learn how to fall first.
Let's start with the easiest of the break falls. But before we do that, what do I need to know before I break fall? Well, one thing is, I want to spread myself over as much surface as I can. That will reduce the impact on my body when I fall. I don't want to fall just on my elbow, just on my wrist, but on as much surface I can spread across the floor. The second thing is the breathing. I want to make sure that I'm exhaling as I fall. I don't want to tense up and then suddenly when I hit the mat, there is all this pressure in my lungs and the air can't go anywhere. This is when I get winded and I hurt myself. So it's really important to exhale on your fall. Practice both and practice really loudly to start with to make sure that you're exhaling as you break fall. So let's look at the simplest one that you can do on your own at home. Now we are doing this on mats here, and you could be also doing this on crash mats, which is even softer. We'll bring one in a second so you can have a look. I'll be performing most of the break falls already on these mats. These are soft enough, but I said it's also good when you start to perform on crash mats. They're thicker than this and really break your fall while you're practicing. Eventually, you have to be able to do all these on hard surfaces, using sometimes protection and sometimes using no protection at all. So like right now, I'm wearing some knee pads here. They're really soft protection. I'm most likely not needing them, but just for demonstration purposes, I have them on. So, back break fall. Easiest way to do it is to go into a deep squat and think of it as of rolling backwards. So as I want to roll backwards, I want to exhale, I want to try and hit the mat close to my hips with my arms. My arms are straight, and at the same time as my back is landing and starting to touch the mat, I'm exhaling and hitting the mat with my hands. So rolling out backwards, exhaling at the same time and hitting the mat. Your tongue should be inside, your teeth should be closed, your neck should have frame, which means it's not totally relaxed. I don't want to have a backlash when I fall back with my head, but at the same time, I don't want to be that tense that it's actually hurting me when I land. So my chin is closer to my chest and I have good frame in it, and I exhale as I land. Let's look at it one more time. So from the deep squat, rolling back, I'm spreading myself over as much surface as I can. So as I'm landing, my hands are really close to my hips. I don't want to be too far up, it can hurt my shoulder. I want to be closer to my hips. And this is kind of what we're looking for, as much as I can in slow motion. As you're lowering yourself down, as your back is about to touch the mat, at the same time, your hands are hitting the mat. And exhaling. This is what we're looking for in the back break fall. And because you're starting from this deep squat, I said you're literally rolling off. You're not falling just yet. So I'm rolling off my back, and as I'm rolling off, I'm learning to break fall. I'm throwing my legs away from me to stop myself from rolling further back. So I'm creating counter momentum, right? So that's the back break fall in its absolute fundamental stage. Now, how can you build it up? Well, you build it up with a little bit of height. So I can do all this, but instead of just rolling backwards, I can do this from a little bit higher up. One way to make it higher up is to stand up a little bit. So instead of being just in a deep squat, I go into my quarter squat. So I'm halfway up, I roll back, and I exhale. From here, quarter squat, roll back, and exhale as I fall. It requires a lot of practice to become good at break fall. So build it up slowly. Don't just instantly move on to the next level and next level. Make sure that the level you start with, you're really good at. And you can perform with no injury, and you can perform without ever getting winded, and you can perform on different surfaces. and then build it up. Start really soft and then build yourself up to harder surfaces. Eventually, this back break fall, I have to be able to do from standing, as well introduce acting part of the break fall. Because right now it's very clean. It just looks like something I would have done in a judo or a jiu-jitsu class. But for acting, it needs to look like I got pushed over, or there was an explosion, or I got hit by something, so I got to introduce the acting part to the break fall. So if I was doing this from standing really clean, I'll be just up here, rolling back, hitting the mat and exhaling. All the time. Once again, really clean. But let's say I want to do this back break fall, and I want to add a little bit of acting to it. Well, that means that as I'm falling, I don't want to be really clean and centered on my back. That's the first thing. The second thing is my arms, as they're coming down, they shouldn't be just waiting for the break fall. They should be moving as I'm falling. So once again, I'll start really low and slow first. So I'll start from this deep squat because I'm just practicing the different movements before the fall. And let's say this was like a really small explosion, I'm falling backwards, something is pushing me and I'm falling backwards and I'm trying kind of to catch myself mid-air, even that I'm really close to the ground. So I'll be kind of rotating my arms, I will be rolling off backwards, hitting, and then landing in a position that's not clean. To make it look like, I just got hit maybe by a blast from an explosion. And yes, that was really low at the moment, but remember you're practicing movements in a really safe space first, in a really safe environment, and then you're gonna try, and I said, as you upskill, you're gonna try, and I said, lift them up so they become more quarter standing and then from standing, but you said just in small steps. So one more time from here, just arm movement first, moving backwards, rolling off, landing, making sure not to land clean. Because if I land totally clean, it's gonna look weird. It's gonna look great in my martial arts class, but it's gonna look really weird on screen. Let's build it up from here, quarter squat, arm movement, and fall. And from standing, and then you can introduce steps, because that was quite stationary now, but I could be also introducing steps here. So let's say it was a push, or again, the blast from an explosion, or a hit from a door of some sort. Then usually I will be doing a few steps before I fall. So I'll be moving a few steps forward, making sure that I know my steps working backwards. As I'm performing my steps, I would land falling backwards. So that's a simple one, just falling backwards, not jumping just yet, not trying to gain any height. All I'm trying to do is fall and introduce some acting as I'm falling and stay safe. So remember, exhaling, spreading yourself over as much surface as you can, taking some of that impact away with hitting with your hands, and building it up. If you need a crash mat to start with, use a crash mat. If you don't need one, go on slightly softer surfaces first. Start going on harder surfaces, make sure you use some kind of protection. And that's the way to build it up. And don't move on to the next stage until you have mastered your first one. Let's look at another break. High break fall. Very similar to the break falls you've done so far, just to the side of your body. Again, easiest way, start on the ground first. You can even start sitting if you don't want to start kneeling. So when you practice it to start with, you can either start sitting or you can start kneeling. So from kneeling, I want to lean to my side. As I'm leaning to my side, that same side arm comes with me so I can hit the ground as I'm falling and rolling off. So as I'm rolling off, exhale, spreading myself over as much surface as I can. As you can tell, I'm not having my legs together. I said in the last clip, I want to have them apart to make sure I'm not hitting my own ankle as I'm break fall. Same side, break fall to the other side. Arm comes with me. Spreading myself over as much surface as I can, making sure my arm is close to my hip. I don't want it to be up here. This is where I can hurt my own shoulder. Making sure it's close to my hip. Once I know how to do that from here, from the knees, good to go, I said, into that deep squat. In the deep squat, on that same side where I'm gonna go, I'm gonna try and extend my leg now as I'm break falling to the side. So this leg goes to the front, open up and split. Same on the other side, deep squat. As I'm in my deep squat, the same side leg that I want to fall to is going to go to the front and then come around. And I'm going to hit the mat and exhale. Spread myself over as much surface as I can. And you keep building it up. So quarter squat. I'm in my quarter squat now. From here, same thing. Imagine there is a speck in front of you that you're trying to sweep with your foot. And as you're doing so, you're going to banana tilt your body slightly to the side, and I want to try and roll off over the side of my shin, and the outside of my thigh, and across my hip, and then my body. So I'm sweeping the speck, getting into the side break fall. Now I'll tie on the side, just from here, sweeping. And now, same idea, just from standing. I'm standing up. Same idea with a little speck on the ground, and as I go, arm goes at the same time as my leg. So as I'm sweeping across the mat with my foot, my arm is gonna swing in the same direction as the same side leg. Single leg squat, to get myself low to the ground, and then break fall. Make sure you exhale. On the side. And again, very safe to perform if you build it up like that, but looks very clean. So we need to find some kind of action that's gonna go with it. It's gonna make it look like it's part of a scene. Now it really depends. Was it part of a fight scene? Was it part of an explosion? Was it part of a hit of some sort? You can come up with that, but make sure to start introducing some extra arm movement, body movement, head movement. And again, you can start from your knees. You want to do this side break fall, I said I can start introducing my hand movement, and then dropping, and then lifting myself up, dropping, and then going higher, lifting myself up, and dropping. Adding that extra arm movement in, we'll start selling that action a lot better, and we'll make it look as clean. That's your side break fall right there. Let's look at the forward break fall. Same as with your back break fall, you want to start small. Start from your knees. Think of your forward break fall as a forward roll first. So you're rolling over your shoulder, across your back to the opposite side here. One really easy way to learn this is one arm goes between your legs, roll off your shoulder, and as you land, again, you want to spread yourself over as much surface as you can. The one arm that's close to your hip again wants to hit the mat, and you want to exhale. Same principles as all the other falls. I will always make sure I have no air inside as I'm landing. I want to make sure that I spread myself over as much surface as I can, and so I want to take some of the impact away. I see that again. As small as I can, just from my knees, one arm between my legs. I roll off, and I land. And like with anything that we do when we perform action or learn things for action, I want to make sure that I can perform this both sides, because I don't know which side the camera is going to be standing on. I don't know which type of choreography I'm going to have on the day. So it's important to be able to perform all my falls on both sides. The other hand, between the legs, rolling off and spreading myself over as much surface as I can. Now I'm going to build it up from there. Same as with my back break falls. I'm just going to lift myself up a little bit, which means basically lifting one leg up. So the same side knee will be down over the arm that I'm rolling off. And imagine that you're still kind of going between your legs. And I want to have much better frame in my hand now. I want to start feeling the ground across my palm here, the back of my palm, then my forearm, then my elbow, then my upper arm. So good frame in my palm, chin to the chest, tuck my head in, and I want to roll off here. Exhale, and I said spread myself over as much surface as I can. So that's you just now building up that forward break fall. I said on both sides from slightly high up. Other side, same idea, creating nice frame. Trying to touch the mat on the outside of my palm first, across my forearm, and then just rolling off that side nicely, exhaling and hitting the mat. Once I have that, next level up, trying to move up, instead of being on my knee, being again in the quarter squat. This time, the same side leg is in front over the arm I'm rolling over. I want to roll over my right arm. I'm going to have my right leg in front. The Same idea here. The other hand can touch the mat if you need to in the beginning, to have a little bit of support as you go. Nice strong frame over that arm. Roll over and spread yourself over as much surface as you can. I'm not landing on my back, as you can tell. I'm slightly to my side as I roll off. Let's look at that from the other side. This time I'll get up, other side. So now I'm going to roll on my left arm. My left leg is in front, and my right arm can slightly touch the mat if I need to in the beginning. Roll. Hit the mat, exhale. And I said, spread myself over as much surface as I can. Ground, half a step up for the squat, and of course, into standing. Now that I'm standing up, same idea here. Rolling off, hitting the mat, exhaling, spreading myself over as much surface as I can. A really important detail here, my legs, as I'm rolling out, what I don't want to happen is this. I don't want my heel of my top leg to connect with the ankle of my bottom leg. Because with all the momentum on my heel, you can break my ankle here. So I want to make sure that my legs are spread as I land. So as I'm coming out of this roll, I don't want them together. So I'm not hurting my bottom leg. I want to make sure I roll out and I keep them spread. Like that, I'm spreading myself over as much surface as possible, and I'm not running the danger of hitting my own leg. One more time, other side, from standing. Exhaling and hitting the mat. Like with our back break falls, just rolling this cleanly across the mat. Won't sell the action. I said it will look like you're in a martial arts class, but you need always to add some acting to it. And of course, we gotta know what it was. Where I pushed, was it an explosion? Did something happen beforehand? And so sometimes, I said, sometimes a certain action beforehand would dictate the fall. So like, let's say if I was shot in the back and I suddenly open up, well, I can't go into a back break fall. It wouldn't look good. So I wouldn't be able to sail a forward break, back break fall instead if I was shot in the back. Because this action here, being shot, wouldn't let me go into this. It wouldn't look right. That's why I would have to choose a different type of break fall. So always make sure that the break fall you're using goes with the action that's needed in the scene. So let's say what's happening right now is maybe I tripped over something, and as I tripped over something, maybe I hit like a low railing or something. It makes me flip over. So something was in my way. As it hits here, as I'm walking, it hits here, and makes me flip over and fall. So that would introduce a forward break fall. So there was a little bit of height on that one. You don't necessarily have to start like that. Let's say build it up from slow. Again, use your crash mats if you need to. Build yourself up to the hard surface. Make sure you wear protection and use good technique to start with. Keep your tongue inside. Make sure you exhale, good frame on your neck. Spread yourself over as much surface as you can. Let's look at the next break fall. Sometimes you just need to fall flat on your face, which means right on your front. If I have to fall right on my front, well, the first thing that's going to really help me is the frame of my arms. I want to create a really solid triangle with my arms. I want to make sure that I catch myself with that frame before I lower the rest of my body to the mat. So in really simple terms, think of it almost as this. It's like almost as if you're going into a push-up position, but instead of catching yourself with your hands, instead of doing this, catching yourself with your hands, it's really going to hurt your wrists if this is a proper break fall. You want to catch yourself with as much surface as you can. So by creating this triangle, you're catching yourself across both forearms in a nice, really solid structure. So here. And the way you start practicing that is exactly the way I'm practicing it right now. From your knees first. Same principles apply. I want to exhale. I want to make sure that I have good frame on my neck, so my head and my face actually doesn't touch the mat. I want to make sure I have my tongue inside. All the same principles, spreading myself over as much surface as I can. So start on my knees, just move myself into position as I'm falling, just on my forehead, hitting the mat. Make sure you exhale, head stays up, and then I can relax into the position, which will add later on to the acting part of the break fall. And one more time, just here from my knees, falling forward, make sure you're exhaling, keep tongue inside, hitting the mat with my forearm. And again, making sure I said that as I'm landing, I'm catching myself on my forearms first, and then I'm relaxing into it. Now you start from your knees. Once you've done that, you'll build it up to the next stage. Same again here, just from this low squat position, I'm gonna move in and think of it as a plank almost. So when I land, I'm almost landing up in a plank position here. And then I lower myself to the ground. Just from here, one more time, deep squat, just moving into that plank position and then relaxing to the ground. And once you can do it in the low squat, well, then we'll stand up. We'll just move from there. Make sure I said you have the triangle ready before you go. You won't do it on the day like that, but when you practice, you want to make sure you're ready in a good position. I want to make sure I'm ready to exhale. I said good frame on my neck, tongue inside as I go, and just lower myself into the position, hit the mat, and then relax. Always making sure I'm safe and performing. Remember, build it up. Do it on crash mats first, then do it on soft surface, use protection, use elbow protection, and then start building up to hard surfaces. And I said never move on to the next stage after you've mastered the first one. Build from the ground, standing on soft surfaces, and then on harder ones after that.